So, after reaching out to the likes of Iran and Cuba, what does the Obama administration do for an encore? Well, how about sending Secretary of State John Kerry to Hiroshima to do some kind of weird mea culpa exercise? Now, Hiroshima was leveled by a U.S. nuclear bomb on August 6, 1945, and during a recent official visit to the city, Kerry said Hiroshima made for a, quote, gut-wrenching reminder of the need to get rid of nuclear weapons. Really? It is so very fashionable for the progressives and the historical revisionists to condemn the United States for using nuclear weapons at the end of World War II, but let's not lose perspective of some important and irrefutable points. First of all, even though about 140,000 Japanese died directly and indirectly due to the Hiroshima bombing, historians contend that millions more would have perished if the conflict in the Pacific had continued unabated. Imperial Japan had absolutely no intention of surrendering, and the war would have dragged on for years. Indeed, the reason the U.S. dropped a second nuclear bomb on Nagasaki just 3 days later is that Japan still refused to capitulate after the Hiroshima bombing. Emperor Hirohito contended that the Hiroshima blast was an anomaly or that it had occurred due to unique atmospheric conditions or some other such nonsense. It was only when the Americans proved that their nukes weren't flukes that Japan came to the table to surrender. Secondly, let us not forget that Japan was the author of its own misfortune. It was Japan that brought the United States into the war with the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. By the way, I wonder if a Japanese diplomat will be heading to Hawaii in the months ahead to make some sort of pseudo-apology for that massacre. Finally, Japan's conduct in the Second World War was egregious. Prisoners of war were tortured, starved, put on death marches, and even beheaded. Civilian women were gang raped. The list of atrocities committed by Japan is a long one indeed. Granted, Japan is a G7 ally today, but let's not forget that some 75 years ago, they were the bad guys. Now all eyes are on President Obama. He will be in Japan next month to attend a G7 leader summit, and reports are circulating that he's considering a visit to Hiroshima as well. That would mark the first time a sitting U.S. president has ever visited the city. But such a visit would be a mistake and yet another embarrassing sign of weakness by the world's preeminent superpower. And make no mistake, there's no reason for a United States president to apologize for a bombing that mercifully ended the war, thereby sparing millions of innocent lives. Say, how does that line go from the Jams, A Town Called Malice? Yeah, that's right. Stop apologizing for stuff you've never done, if that is indeed possible for America's lame duck president. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.